Today we are going to be talking about lab tools and safety. Our objective is to identify basic lab tools and describe their functions. We are going to list the most important rules of a lab safety and describe their importance. Some key terms that you're going to want to keep in mind for your test purposes are right here. You have graduated cylinder, the Erlenmeyer flask, beaker, goggles, compound microscope, hand lens, test tubes, funnels, petri dish, eyedroppers, meter, stick and ruler, and triple beam balance. Right here you see a picture of an example of a lab tool that is called a centrifuge. It's what spins blood down to the point where the liquid of the part of the blood separates. A graduated cylinder is used to measure the volume of a liquid. It measures the liquid by using millimeters to measure with. The Erlenmeyer flask has a cone-shaped base, which it narrows to a cylinder neck. It is used for measuring, mixing, and heating chemicals. The beaker is a wide-mouth cylinder with a flat bottom used for measuring liquids. It measures in milliliters as well. Goggles. It's used to protect the eyes from physical debris as well as harmful fumes. It is required for many labs and must be worn at all times during the lab. They do not work if they are on your forehead. A test tube is a finger-like tube that is closed at the bottom and open at the top. It is held in a test tube rack. A compound microscope is a common lab tool used for viewing small objects at a high magnification. It's used to view cells and other living samples that are invisible to the naked eye. Hand lenses are used to observe specimens more closely. Funnels are used for transferring liquids to different containers. You have a shallow cylindrical dish that is used to grow cells, also known as to culture cells. The eyedropper is a tool to drop liquids into a precise increment and in a precise amount of drops. A meter, stick, and ruler are tools that are used to measure distance. Triple beam balance is a tool used for measuring the mass of small objects. Lab safety. In short, don't be a fool. Our general rules are: behave in a responsible manner at all times. When you enter the classroom where there's a lab materials, no matter how excited you are, do not touch anything until the instructor says to do so. Follow all lab instructions carefully and do not do anything other than the instructions without permission from the instructor. Never fool around in the lab. Horseplay or general goofiness can get you or others seriously hurt. Keep your workspace clean and orderly. Lab attire. What should you wear? Closed-toe shoes. Safety goggles must be worn properly at all times and not on your head. Long hair must be tied back. You must avoid from wearing extra tight clothing, and you have to be careful wearing contacts. You let your instructor know if you are wearing contacts. Accidents happen. If an accident happens, tell your instructor immediately. Do not race to clean it up. Let your instructor tell you what to do. If glass or other lab materials break, tell your instructor immediately. If someone is injured or sick, tell your instructor immediately. Do you notice the theme that's going on here? The theme is if something happens, tell your instructor immediately before assuming that you can act on it, on assisting in the problem that is at hand. Chemicals and hazardous materials. No matter where the lab material is or what you think it is, assume all chemicals, even food, are dangerous. Never smell lab materials or waft it instead. You should not taste or eat any lab materials unless specifically directed by your instructor. Follow all directions about how to dispose of lab chemicals at the end of the lab. Extra protection, such as gloves, may be necessary for handling some materials. The main point here is that science and labs can be fun, and they should be enjoyable as well as educational. But safety is serious. Failure to follow lab safety rules can result in somebody, including yourself, getting hurt, and nobody wants that to happen.